Hi everyone, I'm Carl, and today I'm looking at Transblaster 2. That's right, the second Transblaster. Just get that piece of trash out of there. Alright, this is the Transblaster 2, which will not surprise you, it is the second of actually 5 Transblaster guns. Again, much like the one I showed earlier, Transblaster 1, or Fire Dragon Holy Gun, this is a transforming robot. He becomes a gun and a functional Nerf blaster. If you must know, this guy's name, I believe, is Roaring Tiger Gun. Or just Transblaster 2 if you'd prefer. And they actually belong to the Armored X-Man Kai-Eng series. I think that's the weird branding they stuck on them to sell them as the extremely bizarre names. But I think their names are just Transblaster 1 to 5, or at least that's the basic name. That's what Sir Toys calls them, and that's what I'll call them, because that's the easiest way to find them, is to just try and buy Transblasters. Alright, so let's come in close. You know, just get that camera onto focus, and there we go. Yes, he says K02 Robot. I think the K stands for killing. He looks completely different. I say as I pull the gun away and it blurs the hell out. He looks completely different to his, sort of twin mold sort of guy. He's very, very different. Sorry, there's metal in the hilt again, and it makes this gun quite side-heavy. A little bit tricky to hold when you're trying to present it. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same on both sides. You may have noticed that there is a slight element up here. That's because that is his gun. We'll put that over there. And yes, he has some extremely obvious fists, which do not go anywhere. They're out there. They're there for good. Right. It's a bit silly. He does function as a dot gun, again. This time, he has a unique feature. None of the other Transblasters have this. His gun is loaded by pulling back on this, and then it stays locked in place. It doesn't move. So you can do this, and have like a kind of like you're aiming it sort of thing. You can leave it down. And yes, I'll fire the dart, of course. Let's just fire a dart. It's fun. What's the point of a Nerf blaster if you don't fire a dart? Oh, it sprung right out of the light box. Delightful. Okay. Let's put him into robot mode, hopefully. I haven't done this one quite as recently as Transblaster 1, but let's try and remember. Usually with these guys, the first step is something like, we'll push those arms to the side, because I know they go to the side. Usually you unfold the legs, and they're made out of metal again, and they're kind of hollow this time, but that'll make sense once we sort of finish transforming them. Yeah, so again, you just sort of pop that free. In this case, I believe there's something else that pops free. Yep, there we go. This whole thing area is actually the legs, and you gotta pop that whole thing loose. Lots of popping things loose with these guys. That tends to be the first transformation step in all of them. Okay, so his legs are free. And then you actually slide this whole gun cabinet thing forward. Whew. That makes sense. Now, we just bring these back around, and this actually forms feet. It's kind of confusing, and I might not get it right, so give me a moment. But you push these up, and then they clip onto his feet here. Sorry if I fall off camera here, but I need to line up some pegs. He's got little feet that come out of here, and they sort of sit out. If I can get that one shot. Sorry, this guy's a little bit trickier than the other one to really transform correctly, so he has these tiny little holes right here. And then you gotta put that hole on this little bit of metal here. Plastic. This bit's plastic, this bit's metal. So you wanna turn the leg, make sure you get it nice and gently hooked in, and you don't accidentally break the plastic plugging it into metal. Which is the curse of metal and plastic toys, so be very careful. Excuse me 1 second. Just got a slight problem. I was having trouble lining it up, but I'll get there. And I did it. Sorry, I had to take it off camera for that second foot, but I don't want to break these guys. Okay, the legs are done. Kind of unbelievably, the legs are done. So what we need to do is we need to unhook this. Yeah, his head's not there yet. We'll find it. His arms are very strange. They are deployed out of these tubes, which is why you couldn't push his limbs any further in before. And then this whole cabinet moves forward, and his head's there. Hooray! And that's it. Can move these legs a little bit to try and get them into a better position. But I believe that's it. That's his whole kit and caboodle. That's his stick. Let's pop him back a little bit. Make sure we get him into camera. Yeah, so there he is. Transblaster 2. We can give him his gun. Let's put it in his other hand for just a little bit of variation. You can, I think, put multiple Transblaster guns in multiple Transblaster hands. Let's check, shall we? No. This one doesn't fit. The peg's different. Cute. Yeah, so that's weird, you know. Be careful. They don't quite multi-match as you might expect. Yeah, this is Transblaster 2. Not my favorite. He looks interesting, certainly. Push him up a little bit, because that's supposed to lock like that, I think. So he's got, like, this nice thing. And yeah, again, he has, like, clickety sort of legs in terms of articulation. You know, you can move the legs a lot. Can't move the knees as much, but to make up for that, this is metal and this is metal, which is good, because if these two things are both metal, it means that he has a lot of weight in his bottom half, which means, despite the fact that he has quite an enormous backpack there, he still kind of holds his poses really well, as long as you don't try and put him on one foot, because there's no way he's going to hold that. He's just going to flop. Fortunately, he does hold his poses otherwise quite well. On the downside, because of these bizarre sort of carriagey sort of things he's got going on, like these massive shoulder vacuums, these don't actually turn. He has no shoulder at all. You can only move his arm up and down. Can you move it side to side? You can't really, a little bit of side to side space for some reason right here, but not much. And his wrists don't turn either, which kind of means that he is a slightly above average articulation for a brick, but vastly below what you would expect from most mainline Transformer toys. Did I mention that this guy is from a Chinese original? I have no idea who the actual company that made him is, but he's from them. Let's lift up the camera, sorry in advance for anyone who gets motion sick, and get just a nice little closer up look of his head. There we go. This head is much, much nicer than Transblaster 1. This is a pretty cool head, some nice, you know, paintwork, finishes, shiny metal. It looks pretty damn solid. I like the fact that they've managed to get the Transblaster symbol right on his chest there. Flaming decals, because why not? The gun, it's alright. Not great. I really like this guy's legs. I think they're pretty fantastic. Just come here, buddy. I'll turn you around. Don't fall on me. Because they are actually the gun handles. So they look, I think, really, really cool. Like, really nice finish to that. And really what breaks this guy, what ruins him as a whole, is that, frankly, look, he's got a really cool looking aesthetic, but you can't move his shoulders. You can move him forward and back, which lets him kind of do this, like, thrust-in pelvic move. He's trying to fall, but he won't do it. So, you know, you got, like, a little bit, but he does feel kind of like he's very chunky. But if you like chunky, that's fantastic. I've been Carl. This is Transblaster 2. As I said in the previous video, I will be looking at all the Transblasters, so hopefully you'll join me on the next one, who will unsurprisingly be called Transblaster 3. Get out of my videos!